Hey guys, it's Deni as always. I suggest we spend the evening in a good way, mental health, and there's no better place to boost it than a great RPG. Today I'm going to give you some great action and turn-based games, well, and tried to remove the very hyped, except for a couple of, in general, should be interesting, and therefore, as usual, click on the like, click on subscribe if you are not yet subscribed, and actually, let's go. Do you miss adrenaline and dynamic gameplay? The perfect place to get it all? Good old Crossout. Tense battles, dozens of different vehicles, and hundreds of parts for their customization are waiting for you. You can make a powerful, bulletproof tank and destroy your enemies just by the look of it. Or make something smaller, but fast, and get in the back of unsuspecting enemies. In any case, Crossout is the best place to show everyone who is a real pro. Download the game at the link in the description. I suggest you to start with the game, which is as similar as possible to the legendary Hades, but only remade on the Chinese way. You are waiting for the same action roguelike with RPG pumping, not a bad combat system, adequate set of perks, excellent soundtrack, and nice drawing. The game is played without tension. The bosses are adequate in the measure of complexity. The plot here, of course, weaker Hades, and is presented rather through the description of different items, as it is done in Souls-like games, well, and the variability of pumping. This is generally my honor, considering that the game is semi-Chinese. You and weapons are waiting for the same, various flying swords and self-striking swords, builds through one button or through a million, and you can play through both dodges and parries, which however are opened a little later. In general, a cool and very diverse game. Want something a little more classic? No, of course you can go to Skyrim, The Witcher, or even Old Gothic, but my suggestion is good old Grim Dawn, a great RPG that still feels great to this day. Here, as well as in Titan Quest, the developers make periodically various DLCs, expanding the game, and if you suddenly did not play them, or in general this masterpiece itself missed, you are very much in vain. To date, this is one of the few ARPG games that can compete with the ancestors of the genre. The gameplay is based on the non-linear mechanics of the Titan Quest-like progression, where you choose your main attacking skill and damage type, and on the basis of that, you build up a survival build using the skills of both the main and additional class, which you can choose by creating a multi-class. All this is put on a gloomy gothic setting, story, and visual design with gloomy music in the background. It's a beautiful thing. If you want joy and fun, and not gloomy trekking, I suggest you to go to Monster Hunter World. Here, RPG mechanics is tied to the capture of different animals, or destruction as you prefer. The game is already 5 years old on PC, and it is still the best representative of the genre. Monster Hunter World is that rare beast, where for buying the game, you get a full game with a long playing story for a large number of hours, and the content does not end on a single passage. After the main branch, additional quests, new late game modes, and new bosses are unlocked. If this is not enough for you, you can buy DLC Iceborne and enjoy the content twice as much. Yes, the principle of the game is stupid grind, but if you want to have such a pastime, it's very easy to get a high here, and the music and atmosphere are above all praises. There's an option to go even more classically to the world of the scrolls. True, not in Skyrim because, well, somehow already hackneyed theme in my opinion, and in the Elder Scrolls Online, because the Elder Scrolls Online more interesting. At least you're waiting here a whole world with a large number of locations, a huge set of different quests, and the level of their elaboration is very good. Here it is not the case when you need to kill 100 enemies. Here you just run past and meet a doggy, which barks at you, then leads somewhere. Going after it, you meet a dead owner, you start to investigate this murder, and find adherents of an ancient cult who want to enslave the whole city, and they should be stopped. There, and gods already interfere, rulers and so on, and everything started with an ordinary dog, which you generally graves not even notice, and such quests are about everything. In general, a classy level. Well, and plus, pumping, characters different, classes, and all of this. Especially there finally recently brought a new class. PvP is, and other things. Cool. In a word. The pirate theme is a good one too, especially if you are already dead pirates. I'll tell you right away, the game is bomb. It will give you a lot of emotions and challenges. But let's start in order. You are waiting for the story of pirate Afia and her skeleton friends. Generally, in the game, you are waiting for 8 characters. Each character has its own skills, and they are unique. There are no doubles. The game itself is tied to death and on the magic voodoo, but more details yourself already understand. You are waiting for a lot of stealth action, pumping, interesting plot, great graphics, an incredible atmosphere of piracy and the Caribbean islands. In general, it leaves after itself very warm feelings. If the past is not for you, you can go for a new Cyberpunk, especially if you only played it on release like I did. It would be a great option for you to go play it again since the Phantom Liberty DLC came out, which expanded and remade the game, and overall, the developers are surprisingly good. Yes, at first they released a terrible product, but over time the game is being finalized. Now the current patch 2.1, after the update, the streets of Night City became even more lively, and you have more possibilities. Opened meters full-fledged, you can listen to music while walking, you can even arrange a date in your apartment and stroke a girl on the head. Races, new cars, stunts, and battles on motorcycles. Yes, and the plot is expanded. In general, you can definitely look in Night City now. There is another option to dive into the world of Trine, especially since the 5th part is, without exaggeration, the best game of the series. In many ways will make you think about the difficult level. Here, according to the story, the wizard Amadeus, the thief Zoya, and the knight Pontius will go on their most exciting journey. A juicy picture awaits you, especially compared to the previous installments. A wonderful immersion into the universe. Finally, Zoe was raised the combat system, now generally a top character. And most importantly, towards the end of the game, because of the pumping, it doesn't feel like you're just skipping levels, taking advantage of new character abilities. The game does get more complex, and you'll have to think a lot. And yes, this is a role-playing game in which you will have to think a lot. Whether this is a plus or a minus is up to you, of course, but as far as I'm concerned, it's a great game. Now, the new Warhammer. Rogue Trader is even more beautiful, especially if you love this universe. If not, but you're into RPGs, it's a great way to get acquainted with the universe. Like the original universe, the game is very unfriendly. If you decide to play, expect pain and suffering. Suffering from the incomprehensible interface and abilities, a little from bugs and game crashes. But if you are ready to put up with it, you will be waiting for a cool atmosphere. You are waiting for a great story and a ton of information and text. The Warhammer universe is waiting for you, as it is, gloomy, dystopian, and magnificent, for those who love it, of course. From the words of people that bought and played it, if you understand what Warhammer is, at least by space troopers understand the basic structure, you will get high from the game as much as possible. Otherwise, for you will not be a bad dive headfirst into this universe. While Stalker pretends that it still needs someone, there is an unusual and honestly admittedly cool analog, Stalcraft, even with the fact that the game is cube-based. First off, you need to know that it's an MMOFPS, well, something like Destiny 2, only in the world of the Alienation Zone. Secondly, the quest story is here, and it's suddenly good. Plus, there is one more key feature. It has open-world PvP. This means that you can join one of the local factions and kill oncoming players of other factions almost everywhere, except for small safe zones and dungeons. So looting, ambushes, co-op with other players, in search of loot from other players, it's all here. The game feels incredible.
Come on.
Well, a few more words about my personal discovery. In front of you is free Torchlight Infinite, which is kind of an RPG like Diablo, which kind of even has donation, only it is not needed at all. The overall look of the game is like this. Gameplay-wise, action RPG isometric, with a mountain of different characters which you pump your build. The game itself is seasonal, like Path of Exile. Here, too, with the season comes out a new mechanics. Today there are bushes in which you immerse as in in the Netherworld and then there to collect rewards. In other seasons, it's different, but the main thing is that with each season, a playable character is brought in, either a unique one or a different version of an existing one, which of course is played completely differently. And the funny thing is that you will never meet two identical characters because there are tons of modifications of skills, equipment, and everything else. And most importantly, there is one more plus. You can play from your PC and phone too, from the same account, which is extremely convenient. Well, that's it for today. We're done with you. I hope you found something interesting for yourself, and therefore clicked on the like and subscribe too. Well, with you was as always Deni, and have a nice day.